From what I remember, because I was...
Okay, shush.
Karen was filming
Shh.
it.
Shh. www.shh.com. Okay, it is my pleasure to next introduce you to Dr. Ganz Ferrance. He is a registered psychologist. He's a TV and radio personality, expert in family psychology and men's counseling. If the men's counseling thing didn't convince you all what a bad person he is, he actually admitted to me with no trace of shame whatsoever that when he was a child, his favorite food was cheese, pickle, and ketchup sandwiches. And it really is when you leave those red flags during childhood, you just ignore them, you don't do anything, you don't make any kind of intervention, that you end up with the terrible, horrible, awful, really bad, no good Dr. Ganz to tell us how to keep your family sane when things get crazy.
Sorry about the delay. How many of you have ever felt stressed out? Excellent, thank you. How many of you would like to have better relationships in your life? Anybody interested in that? Right on, thank you. Hey, listen, so thank you for coming here today. Really appreciate your patience and appreciate you being here. What I'm going to show you today is 7 strategies for staying sane in an insane situation, okay? How many people have ever had, felt kind of stressed out and insane with their families? Yeah, okay, thank you. So I just want to thank, Karen and Dan and the organizers of Cafe here for doing this. I think it's a wonderful thing and a very, very important thing. Is it okay if I tell you a little bit about why I do these talks? Is that okay? Okay. So I grew, as Karen said, I'm an awful person. So my ketchup and cheese and pickle sandwiches, that was not the worst of it. But I grew up with, Mara talked about her colleague and having a depressed dad and the effect it had on their child. I grew up with 2 people who were, struggling, and it was not fun. It was very difficult for myself. All of my family members also have, struggles as well. And so I know the effects personally, and I also know what it's like from my 20 years of practice, what it's like when parents aren't present. And it's not fair for the child didn't ask for it, and they're also sort of the future of our civilization. So we want to do something for our children. So this is why I come out and I do these talks, because little tweaks, little things that we can know, if I can make a difference in somebody's life, and they can have a happier day, they can make it through the week, they can be kinder to their kids when they go home, that's going to have big ripples that go out into the universe, into the world. Okay, so we're going to have a little talk today. So when I do my presentations, it's really a back and forth. So it's going to be a conversation. So I don't ask rhetorical questions. When I ask questions, I actually want an actual verbal answer. Would that be okay with you guys? Okay. That was a test, by the way. Few people over here got it. So if I ask you a question, can I get a verbal answer back from you guys? Yes. There you go. Thank you. Perfect. So what this is the reason I want that is because what research shows is the more involved the audience is, the more involved we are in learning anything, the better we remember it, the better we're able to use it, the more it sticks, the longer it lasts. So you actually get more by doing more. Is that okay? Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So let's get into it. So let's see. 7 ways of keeping yourself sane in an insane situation. How many people remember this story? The story of the goose that laid the golden egg. Yes. Anybody? Yeah. Yes. Okay, thank you. Good. So the farmer was really poor, couldn't support his family. All he had was a goose, right? And he used to sell the eggs and to buy food. So one day he goes out, looks, and there's a solid gold egg. And the egg, he couldn't believe it, but he takes it into town and he gets it tested. It's true, it's real gold. And so he sells it and becomes rich. Next day he goes out, finds another egg. Next day he goes out and finds another egg. Before long, he's massively wealthy, but he's also impatient. So what he does says, I'm way too important, and I don't have the time to wait for 1 egg a day, I'm going to go out, I'm going to cut the goose open and get all the golden eggs at once. So we know what happens, right? He goes out, grabs the goose by the neck, cuts it open. What does he find? Goose guts, right? Goose guts. There's nothing. He killed the goose that laid the golden egg. Mara was talking about the importance of putting your own mask on first. Well, believe it or not, you are the goose. You are the goose that lays the golden eggs every day. But you're also the farmer. You're the guy or the girl who is responsible for making sure the goose lives a long, healthy life. How many of you would think that it would be smarter to maybe build a little, goose resort and have some goose friends come in and feed the goose lots of goose chow, make the goose nice and happy and healthy and have a long, long life? How many people think that would be a good idea? Yeah, okay. So we have to do the same for ourselves. So this is one of the things that I came up with to help me do this. So a little bit more about my background. I've burnt myself out a couple times, and I know the effect that I have on my kids and my wife when I go home and I'm stressed out and pissed off and tired and exhausted. It's not good. And so this is what I came up with to help me. It's a little program that I put myself in the middle. Now this seems really selfish, right? Oh, okay. So maybe not. You guys are really enlightened then. Okay, because really, this, if you don't have, as Mara said, your own mask on first, you cannot help anybody else. So the sequence goes, I have to look after myself, I look after my partner or spouse if I have them, and then my kids, and then extended family and friends, work, all the other things. But if I put anything else in the middle other than myself, the whole system falls apart, okay? Has anyone ever been exhausted by their boss or their job? Yeah, okay. Okay, so here's a tough one. Has anyone ever been exhausted by their kids? Yeah. If you have kids, your hands up, right? Yeah. Because you know what? Have you ever tried to just give to your kids and, well, let me ask it a different way, or say it a different way. I know parents who have put the kids in the middle, and what happens is they invest everything in the kids. Okay? Kids come first. So then the kids grow up, they haven't developed their own lives, they haven't developed their own relationships. The kids naturally want to do what they want to do, which is to become independent and move on. And I've seen parents who sabotage their kids. They do things to keep them dependent. They do things to guilt them and manipulate them. They maybe even get sick themselves so they can keep the kids around to make sure their investment doesn't go away. Has anyone seen this anywhere?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so it doesn't work. So, if you imagine a cascade glass, the champagne glass cascade that you see around New Year's Eve, one glass at the top, glasses, successive levels all the way down. If the guy pours the champagne into the top glass, what happens if he keeps pouring? It cascades down, right? It fills up, it spills over, and all the glasses get filled. That's like this model. You want to pour your energy into the center, okay? If you're let's do a little experiment, okay? I'd like everybody to close their eyes for a second, okay? I'm going to imagine something. Imagine that you've just come back from a really good vacation. We had all the food you wanted. You were able to lie on the beach or ski or whatever it was that you wanted to do. There was nobody pulling at you. It was like an all-inclusive. You're well rested. The trip back was good. I see somebody yawning already. That's awesome. And you're at home. What kind of partner do you think you would make? Better or worse? Better. Anybody think there'd be worse partner? No? Okay, your silence on that one. If you and your partner, if the partner was also doing this, what kind of parents do you think you guys would make? Better or worse? Better. If your kids also were doing this, they saw they had happy, well-fed, well-rested parents, what do you think you'd be better when you dealt with the work in the rest of the world knowing that your kids are happy and healthy? Yeah, definitely. So the system works. But we are not taught this, and especially us guys, unfortunately, we are taught to sacrifice. We're taught to put everything else before ourselves. Women do it too, but they do it in a different way. Okay? So this is something that we have to sort of learn and incorporate into our lives. So each circle around here is not just a level, but it's also a boundary, because that's the next thing we have to do. That's point number 2. We got to man the wall. We got to keep our boundaries. Okay? So good boundaries are the ones at the top. Each one of those circles, by the way, I visualize as a fence with two gates in them. So when something comes in that is going to influence stuff on the inside of the circle, we want to take it into that little middle part and see if it's good for what's inside. If the boss wants me to work late, is it going to be good for everything that's inside? Maybe I need the money. Maybe it's going to stress out the kids because I was supposed to take them to one of the recitals or something. So we have to look at that, figure out if it's going to be good. If it is good, we open the inside gate and let it through. But we don't want to have closed boundaries where nothing comes in, because then we starve. And we don't want to have 2 open boundaries because everything just comes through us and takes us out. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So one of the core skills to having good boundaries is the ability to say no. Has anyone ever struggled to say no in here?
No.
No. Awesome. So we're actually going to do a little bit of practice right now, okay? Is it possible to get the lights turned up?
No. Yeah.
No. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. So what I want you to do is get into pairs, okay? Get into pairs, so find a partner and put up your hand. We'll just take a few minutes, a few seconds. Put up your hand if you don't have a partner. We'll find you a partner. Okay. Okay. Put your hand up. One person over here. Okay. Can you back there? Can you come down here? There's one here. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, everybody's in partners? All right. So we're going to practice saying no, guys. Okay, everybody loves this little thing. Okay, so in your partnership, one person is going to ask the other person for a favor. And the person being asked is going to say, what do you think?
No.
No, okay. So somebody once told me that no is a complete sentence. All right? We usually go, no, I wish I could, or I wish I could, no, sorry, but you know what I mean? But the only thing you're allowed to say is no. No qualifiers, no anything else, okay? So the other part of this little game is you have to maintain eye contact with the person that's asking the question. Okay? So now the person asking the question, do not ask a hard question. Do not ask for a big favor like a kidney. Okay? You're gonna ask like a small, like can I borrow a dime? Like can I borrow a quarter? Can you tell me the time? You understand? Something very easy for them to do. Because we want to make this a little more difficult, right? Okay? So, okay, I'm going to be kind of biased here. The person with the least hair gets to ask the question. Okay? We're going to do this for 1 minute. We're going to do this for 1 minute. Remember, maintain eye contact, and the only thing that you can say is no. And the person asking the question, I want you to pepper them. Make it hard, okay? Can you tell me the time? Can you tell me the time? Can I borrow a quarter? Keep it coming. Can I make a phone call on your phone? All right? So are you guys ready? Hang on, are you guys ready? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, go.
Why not? Can I use yourself? Yeah, can you please make eye contact?
It's harder than it seems.
I can shake your hand? Okay. Why not? Can you give me a coffee? Want to go for lunch?
stop, and stop. And stop, please. And stop, please.
No, we won't.
Very good. You learned the lesson. Okay, switch. Switch partners, please. Switch partners. Okay. And go. Find your partner, man. So explain the game to him. Go for it.
Mike, what else do you never ask for anything. Well, that's a lesson. You know what? That's a lesson in itself. No. To learn to ask for what you need more often. It's hard,
And stop, please. And stop. And stop, please. No. Thank your partners, please. So, what did you learn? Who wants to share? What did you learn from that experiment? Right here.
It's very tough to say no when you're looking in someone's eyes, even somebody I don't know.
Right. Even somebody you don't know, and when you're looking with somebody's eye, it's hard to say no. But this, you know what this is like? This is like shooting foul shots when you're playing basketball. Okay, you're not going to be in the game and shooting foul shots all the time. But when the time comes to shoot foul shots, you want to have that skill. So it's a good, you're stretching yourself. Did it get easier as you went along?
No, it didn't get any easier as I went along. It was tough the entire time to look in someone's eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this: when somebody asks me for say $5,
Right.
I don't look at them. I say no.
Okay. So that's your
Somebody's
sort
walking. I'm walking down the C-train platform. Can I have $5, buddy? Just don't look at them and say no.
Right. Yeah. So it's a little easier when you don't look. Okay. So if somebody's asking for some hard, maybe do it over the phone or over text. Right? Or something, so yeah, whatever you need to do to keep your boundaries. But thank you for sharing. I saw a hand over here.
I learned that I cannot hit my brother, and I don't have to walk the dog when I get home.
Okay. Because yeah, those are the questions you asked? Oh, smart. That's brilliant. Thank you. Anybody else? Right
I
here.
also noticed that although asking questions were relatively easy to begin with, the more no's I got, the less I wanted to ask the question.
Right. Eventually, you want to give up, right? Yeah. So if somebody sticks to their guns,
Yeah.
it's like okay, I'll stop asking eventually, right? So that's one way to
What's
keep.
the use?
Yeah. What's the use, right? And it's like we actually train people how to treat us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when we accept certain treatment into our lives, they think it's okay because they don't necessarily know. I mean, you think they would know, but they don't. And also, when we can say no, we set up those boundaries, they eventually learn where our lines are. There's a saying I like, it says, good fences make good neighbors, right? If everybody knows the rules of the game, we have a better game, right? Okay, thank you.
What I learned was that I don't ask for anything that is easy. I usually wait until it's the hardest thing that I can do for myself.
Okay.
So I only asked for the big things, but I wasn't allowed to ask for like the Porsche.
The Porsche.
It was like, can I have a dime?
Right.
I don't ask to, can I get you to let the cat out? Or I
Right.
ask, I do it myself.
Right. That's a really good point. And I think a lot of people are like that. Like how many people kind of suck it up until, they just can't take it anymore? How many people have ever done that in their lives? Right? Okay. So when I do my one-on-one work with like people in my office, sometimes I deal with people with anger issues, okay? And I put big quotations around that because a lot of the people that look crazy and have the anger issues, the explosive anger, they're actually people who do not like conflict. What they do is, they have something happen and they let it go, right? And then something else happens, they let it go. And then something else happens, they let it go, they don't deal with it, they keep letting it go, until there's no more room, and then, okay, here we go. Do you see what I'm saying? And then they look crazy. And they're not crazy, they're just full. Do you see what I'm saying? So the idea is, deal with it here, all right? One of the things that I do is, in my relationships, if I can truly let something go, I let it go. But if it comes back, if I get some feelings about it, if I'm dreaming about it, or next time something happens that's like really bothering me, that means I have to address it. I have to have the courage to go in and address it. Because if I don't, then this whole process starts, right? This kind of might be kind of a little gross analogy, but help you remember. Flush the toilet every time you use it, okay? Same deal. If there's something going on, deal with it right away, get it out of the way and move on. Because I think a lot of people are like that. We don't ask for the little stuff. We only ask for the big stuff when we need it. And then there's all this pressure behind it. Yes? Okay. One more. Anybody else?
Well, I learned there are questions to which you cannot reasonably answer no. Gary, what was your question?
Oh, I asked him if you would throw me a life jacket because he's drowning in the pool.
Okay. That's a hard one. That's brutal. So you can thank him for that, because that's if you say no to that, you're the king of the game. So right on. So assertiveness is important to self-care, yes? You guys forgot already. Assertiveness is important to self-care, yes? Yes. Okay, so you have to, being assertive, practicing that. So for me, assertiveness is I'm going to take responsibility for my own needs, and I'm going to take responsibility and take care of it in a way that doesn't infringe on somebody else taking care of their needs. I'm not going to get my needs taken care of at your expense, and I'm not going to step on you to get mine. I'm going to get mine in a healthy way, and if I'm really assertive, I'm really good at this, I can get mine while I also help you get yours. Make sense? Okay? So that's kind of the next kind of little secret here, is to stay positive. All right? So mindset is really, really important. Whatever we focus on, we get more of. Has anybody ever experienced that? Yeah. So you go buy a car, and all of a sudden you see the same color, same make of car everywhere on the road, right? Weird thing. Did they just show up one day? No, they were always there. There's a part of our brain called the reticular activating system that is kind of like the bloodhound and the bouncer. If you tell it what's important, it'll go out and find it in the world. So we bought the car, so we said, hey, this red Ford is really important to me. So now I go out and I see red Fords everywhere. You see what I'm saying? But it works all the time. So if I look at the negative things in life, guess what I'm training my bloodhound and bouncer to look for? Negative things in my life, right? And I'm going to find more of those things that are making me feel progressively crappier every day, okay? If I look for positive things in my life, I'm going to train my bouncer and my bloodhound to go out and look for that. Which is better, positive or negative? Positive. You guys are falling asleep on me. Which is better, positive or negative? Positive. Okay. So, how many people think they are pretty assertive? Okay, well, let's see. So, okay, get in your partnerships again, okay? We're going to do another little exercise. Okay, my man, you're going to be my partner, okay? All right, we're going to come down there.
We got this guy just came back.
Okay, okay, so you guys can partner up then, please? Yeah, perfect, thank you. Okay, so this time, the person with the least hair is going to go first, okay? Equal rights. Oh, sorry, most hair, my bad, thank you. Keep me honest. Okay, so this time, this one is called You're Awesome.
That's right.
Okay, so this is the game. The person with the most hair is gonna, you're gonna talk to your partner and say, you're awesome because, and pick something, okay? It could be, I like your height, I like your eyes, you look nice, looks like you took a shower today. Whatever it is, okay? It doesn't have to, you probably may not know the person who you're partnering up with, but look for things that obvious things, just anything, okay? And the person who is receiving, your job is to maintain eye contact and say thank you.
When I'm shy. Even my wife.
Yeah, well, this is it. So not, oh, no, don't, no. Oh, this old thing, no. Okay. None of that. Right? Just thank you, okay? So, hey, Gans, I like your well-shaved head. Thank you. Okay? Everybody good? Okay. Go.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And stop, please. And stop. And stop, please. Does anyone not have a partner? I forgot to check last time. Does anyone not have a partner? You don't have a partner? Do you have a partner? In the white hat? Do you have a partner? No? Okay, can you guys partner up? Oh, you got a triad? Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so you two get to split 30 seconds, okay? Now the other person is doing the complimenting, and we're just gonna switch, okay? So you guys just do half and half, okay? So 30 seconds, I'll tell you what 30 seconds is. Ready, and go.
You're awesome. Very good. You listen You are awesome. Curiosity to learn and grow. Very nice smile as well. Everything's awesome because you seem to be involved in management and you like it, but you don't like it. Check this.
And stop, please. And stop. And stop, please. Excellent. Excellent. Thank your partners. What did you learn from that one? What was that one like? Who wants to share?
Incredibly uncomfortable.
Who said that? Where are you? Incredibly uncomfortable. Okay. Did anyone else feel uncomfortable? Okay. What do you think that is? Yeah. We don't get very many compliments, right? And what, especially as Canadians, we're taught to be super humble. Do you know what I mean? But, what were the things that were being said to you, were they accurate? Yes. Right? These people don't know you. They're like, hey, nice haircut. Okay. Right. So there's really no reason to not accept it, but it's really a habit. We have a habit of, doing the emotional Aikido with the compliments, right? Getting out of the way. But we need to be able to let them land, give ourselves permission to accept them, and learn to let them in, okay? Because how does it feel, how many people actually let some of that stuff in? How many people let some of the good stuff in? Okay. How did that feel? Good. It was good. Do you think you'd be better in the world or worse in the world by letting that in? Better. Right. So nothing bad. It's not a sinful thing. It's not a selfish thing. It's actually a good and responsible thing. Right? So thank you for sharing that. Who else wants to share? Okay, one back here.
Canadians are noted, I think, throughout the world for ending every sentence with a question mark.
Right.
Okay? Our voices go up at the end of the sentence. And that pattern comes from basically saying, I think this, don't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
So we immediately look for the person to agree with us, as if it doesn't stand on its own. And I think we developed that pattern, all of us, because we didn't do that. We didn't speak that way 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a society, we didn't speak that way 50 years ago. We do now, and I think it reflects a great deal on the fact that we are less likely than a lot of other people, like Americans, for example, not picking on anybody, but Americans or people from the UK and so on, who find it funny that we end every sentence with a question mark. But I think that's a pattern that we've developed, and it's a reflection on Canadians perhaps seeing themselves as humble.
Right. Right. Did everyone hear that? Yeah, so the idea is that we you know, when our statements sound like this, as opposed to like this. Okay, so there's a question mark kind of on the end of our statements, and so it is coming from a place where we don't want to be too pushy, we don't want to be too strong, we don't want to whatever, but that does affect our sense of self, our sense of confidence. So, and again, like you pointed out, that we didn't do this 50 years ago, but societally we've kind of drifted in this direction. So it's a learned thing. So if there's a learned thing, we can learn a different thing, right? And so that's a good thing to practice too, is when you say a statement, not thank you, thank you, right? Or I really like your hair. I really like your hair. I really like your hair. Right? So we can actually be aware of that and practice that a little bit. So thank you for that. Okay, how much time do I have, John?
You're 32 minutes.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, so speed through the rest of this. So the next thing is don't compete. Now this one kind of is obvious if everybody's living in the home, do you know what I mean? But sometimes, when you're dealing with situations where the parents are split, there is a tendency, well, they're doing this over at mom's house, what can we do here? And you kind of feel like you have to compete, you got to keep up, okay? That's a losing proposition. It doesn't work. We say in psychology, the opposite of dysfunction is dysfunction. So if you go one too far one side, if you try to react the other way, it's also dysfunctional. So if we're doing something to react to the other side, what the kid gets is the experience of two out-of-balance parents. Whereas if you just figure your path, do what's healthy for the kids, stick to that, that's going to be healthier for the kids. You do not have to compete. Competing is a losing proposition. In time, the kids will understand what the deal is. They may not understand right away. Because little kids, if you give them their way of choosing, they just want ice cream for breakfast every day, right? They're not gonna know what's good for them. So, but we do as parents. So we have to have the courage to be balanced parents. So the kid has at least one healthy parent, even if the other one is like Disneyland mom or Disneyland dad. Make sense? Okay, thank you. The grown-ups have to be the adults. The adults have to be the grown-ups. All right. I do not believe in child-centered home. Okay, because kids do not know what's good for them. The adults have to figure it out and call the shots. Now, so I believe in what I call a benevolent dictatorship, right? Not a democracy, okay? When the kids are little, benevolent dictatorship. I'm in charge, and I want to help you grow and teach you how to do life properly. So I'm going to give you some choices, but it's important you understand I'm giving you these choices. These are not your rights necessarily. I'm giving you these choices because I'm trying to help you grow. As the kid gets bigger, the box they live in gets a little bit bigger, right? By the way, our job as parents is to keep the box, like to keep the boundaries of the box. Their job as kids try to get out the box, okay? So that's the game, all right? As the kids get older, the box gets bigger, and hopefully the kids learn those parameters. If they don't learn the parameters, society has another box for them. This one has bars and armed guards. You don't want them to end up in that box, okay?
He's saying punch through the box.
Well, if you can, sure. It doesn't work very well. Break your hand. So, but this is it. The adults have to work together to be the adults. It sometimes is too, sometimes we're tired, but this is what Mara was saying. We have to put our own mask on first, because to do this stuff takes energy. And if we're not well fed, well rested, got good communication with people that support us, it's going to be very hard. The kids are going to wear us down because they got more energy, right? So we have to be well fed in order to do this. All right? Next one. Okay, so if you can, you want to support the other side, okay? If you're living in a situation where the kids are sharing you, the parents, okay? The person who is the most supportive is actually going to win in the long run. It's not really a competition, but that's how it works, okay? If the other side is not totally crazy, you want to try to do what you can to support that, to support them. Say, you know what, I know mom's place or dad's place is different, but if those are the rules, you need to stick with them. You need to respect your parents, and when you're over here, these are the rules over here. But try to support the other side as much as possible, because it's less confusing for the kids. When you make the kids, whoever makes the kids choose, they're the ones that are going to lose. They might not lose in the beginning, but in the long run, they're going to lose. So you really want to do your best to be supportive to the other side. And of course, if you can't, you got to jump out when you need to, okay? So tag out. If the other side is not participating, well, what can you do? You have to just call it what it is and say, okay, well, it's got to be this way now, okay? That is a harder choice, but sometimes that's the best choice for the kids. And this also has another meaning too. If there are a couple of you in the home, you do not have to do it all. Like you were saying, my friend, you don't always ask for somebody to take the cat out, right? You can. Tag team, right? There's two of you. You please take the cat out today. I need to take a nap, right? Everybody wins if that happens. Make sense? Okay, how much time do I got?
37 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Almost 5 minutes.
Almost 5 minutes. All right, so one more exercise, because assertiveness is really, really important. All right? So, in your partnerships again, all right, everybody's in the partners. Does anyone not have a partner? Everybody's good? Okay. So, dealer's choice on this one as to who goes first. All right, but you have to decide in 5 seconds or less. This game, this one's called, so we did no. We did you're awesome, right? This one's called I'm awesome. Okay? So this one, the person who starts is going to talk about how awesome they are. All right? So listen. You don't have to solve climate change or cure cancer to be awesome. I have size 10 feet. I love that. I'm awesome because I have size 10 feet. I'm awesome because I'm bald. I'm awesome because whatever, okay? So you think about some things, and I'll give you some time to prepare about why you're awesome. And if you run out of stuff, repeat, okay? And if you run out of those things, just say I'm awesome because I'm awesome. But you got to keep doing it, all right? The person on the receiving end, their job is to keep eye contact, smile and say, yes, you are. Okay? You've got 30 seconds to prepare. 30 seconds to prepare, and I'm going to tell you when to go. Okay, so you start thinking about your awesomeness now.
Yes, you are.
Start thinking about how awesome you are. Because you have to go in 1 second. Okay, are you guys ready? Is everybody ready? Yes. All right, go for it.
I'm awesome because I speak for languages. I'm awesome because I have no problem living by myself. I'm awesome because I miss the cake. I'm awesome because I can get it too. Wrote a book that's almost published. Yeah, it's like
partners. I'm not switch partners, but you know, the other person gets to tell you how awesome they are. Ready and go. And stop, please. And stop. And stop. What did you learn? What was that like?
Good.
Good. You're awesome. Do you feel like your energy level is higher or lower than when we started? Higher. Would that make you better or worse at your job?
Awesome.
Awesome. Better or worse as a parent?
Better.
Better. Better or worse as a partner? Better. How is any of this bad?
In no manner.
In no manner. Okay? But again, you know, you point out, us Canadians, we have this humility fetish kind of thing happening, right? And it's not necessarily useful for us. Okay? We are awesome. Everybody here is perfect in their own way, and we get to evolve in whatever direction makes sense for us. So we don't have to stop going just because we're perfect. But we're already there, and we get to keep going. Is that awesome or is that awesome? Awesome. Okay. I want to thank you for spending the time with me today, and appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a good rest of the presentation. Thank you.